Hello everyone, we are Group 1. Our final presentation is about co-opetition. The video is separated into 3 parts. The first part is the overall introduction of the concept of co-opetition. The second part, we focus on the 5 important elements of the game of business. The last part, we illustrate how to apply the concept of co-opetition in a real-world scenario.
There is nothing so radical as a good theory. A good theory confirms the conventional wisdom that less is more. Besides, a good theory does that since it doesn't give answers. At the same time, it does a lot more because it supports people to organize what they know and uncover what they don't know. Co-opetition offers a theory of value. This book is about creating value and capturing value. In fact, contrast with the win-lose view, the most business succeed only if others also succeed. It's mutual success rather than mutual destruction. It is the win-win view. In the game of business, it allows more than one winner when all the background elements are constantly changing. But once you play the wrong game, you may fare badly, even you play the game well. Thus, in business, instead of taking the game you find, the real success comes from making the game you want. So, if you want to make the game, you have not only to change the way you play the game, but to change the game you play. Want to change the game, you must have tools. Value nets is one of the important components in game theory. If business is a game, the players will be the customers, suppliers, competitors, and people who provide complements, who is called complementers in the book. The vertical dimension of the value net shows that resources flow from suppliers, company to customers, along with money flowing in the reverse direction. The horizontal dimension shows the competitors and complementary of each side of the company. The value net reveals 2 fundamental symmetries in the game of business. The first one is customers and suppliers play symmetry rules. The second one is competitors and complementary play mirror image rules. Life is a game that must be played. How much you want to get in a game doesn't depend on the size of the pie to be divided, or notions of fairness. What you get depends on your power in the game, and also on the power of others who have competing claims on the pie. You still remember the card game? The game that is free for negotiation between Adam and the student. The first reaction may be is, Adam is in a stronger position. But if you change your position with right strategy and make the right decision, the situation may be different. Game theory analyzes situations in which people's fortunes are interdependent and provides a systematic way to develop when one person's fate depends on what other people do. Why does the theory work is because of the changing environments of business markets. Game theory helps us to combine influential complements and find out the right strategy.
In order to change the game, we must understand how to change the game. There are 5 fundamental elements of the game of business. 1. Players. The complete list of players consisted of customers, suppliers, competitors, and complementers. By using value nets, we can identify all the players and their relationships that are useful to a company. 2. Added value. Added value measures what each player contributes to the game. Your added value will equal to the size of the pie when you are in the game, minus the size of the pie when you are out of the game. The added value recognizes who has power in the game and who will get the big payoffs. According to the result of card game, when calculating their own added value, many players usually don't put themselves in other players' shoes. In the end, they might overestimate or underestimate their added value. This can determine who has the power in the game and who will get the big payoff. 3. Rules. Rules structure the way the game is played. There are many rules governing negotiation in business. However, in the real business world, there is no regulated sets of rules, and they can come from custom, contracts, or law. Putting in a different rule can produce a big difference in the way a game is played. For instance, in the card game example, if a rule says that only Adam can make offers, this becomes a one-shot negotiation. Both of the sides can only do the negotiation for once. If both accept, the deal is done. If both reject, the deal is over. In the first negotiation, Adam offers $50, and this offer is accepted. Then two sides will split up the $100. This may be the most common result, because no one would be unfair. The other situation will be, if Adam offers less than $50, he might get turned down and gets nothing in the end. Therefore, to analyze the game, Adam has to put himself in the student's shoes and recognize that the student is likely to accept the offer as long as he or she gets some money. Put yourself in other players' shoes and imagine how they will play the game will help you to anticipate their reactions to your actions. 4. Tactics. Perceptive. Perceptive is also important in a negotiation. When two partners set up a business, they often include a rules, saying what to do if one of the partners wants to end the relationship. This is what we call Texas shootouts. The dissatisfied side has the priority to state the price. However, what if your partner values the venture less than you do? For example, you think the venture worth $100, and you know your partner only value it at $60. Then the right strategy is to figure out the price at which your partner would be equally satisfied with. Therefore, you have to try hard to find out how your partner views the business through your negotiation. Otherwise, a disagreement over valuation will lead to the breakup. Figuring out the way people perceive the game is important in the game, because it influences the moves they make. These differing perceptions not just have subtle influence on how the game is played, but are a fundamental part of the game itself. The devices used to shape perceptions are tactics. 5. Scope. Boundaries. Theoretically, a game has no boundaries, but it is too complex to analyze a game without boundaries. In real practice, to help them analyze the game, people draw artificial boundaries and create the fiction that there are many separate games. The problem is that mental boundaries are not real boundaries. Although people often analyze games in isolation, each game is invariably linked to others. The link between games can cause a big effect. It is important to recognize these 5 elements are all components of a single whole, and the various elements depend so closely on each other. We still need to look at each component individually to be sure that no one is neglected.
In the end, we will take an example of Nintendo. About 5 years ago, Nintendo launched a new home video game console, Wii U, as the successor of Wii. However, Wii U turned to be the lowest selling products of the game console launched by Nintendo. And finally, Nintendo ends its productions in 2016. In this case, we can analyze some reasons and factors that make Wii U and Nintendo fail. First, it released too late than other competitors. Compared to other companies, Wii U is the latest product in the same generation. When Wii U released 1 year later, the other companies launched the brand new console. Wii U immediately became outdated. Second is the lack of third-party publisher support. There are only 2 games which all made by Nintendo in Wii U when it just released. The successful experience of Wii gives Nintendo confidence, and they believe that they don't need other publishers to design games for new Wii. Therefore, the cost of developing games for its console is really high. The core gamers will find it tedious because of the familiar styles and small amounts of the games. This shows that Wii series didn't commit to core gamers. Using the concept and idea of the book, the first thing that Nintendo did wrong is overvaluing its add value. Nintendo tried to use the same strategy as before. Just like the book mentioned that in the late 1990s, when the competitor launched the new system, Nintendo wouldn't hurry to jump into the new system battles. It waits for a while to maintain the new product's price and the previous product sale. However, it may be totally different now. At that time, there were less competitors than now. After Wii launched successfully, Nintendo tended to use the same strategy and didn't release the new console in the following years. Therefore, Wii U became the latest launched one in the battle of the new console. Unlike the situation in 1990s, there are more and strong competitors with mature technology now, like Sony's PlayStation and Microsoft's Xbox. The strategy didn't work at this time. Second wrong thing is that in this game, Nintendo didn't identify the rules in ValueNet clearly. For Wii U, the customer will be the core gamers, not the light users. But throughout the Wii's history, Nintendo's marketing strategies revolved around appealing children and family. The children only have light buying powers and happen to depend on parents' financial viability, which will hardly be the core consumer for Nintendo. They ignore the most gamers are the adults male, and they can consume more with their own income. After this failure, their strategy has changed. They are no longer too committed with children, but start to attract adults. Also, Nintendo is a good example for co-opetition. It used to be hostile to mobile game. However, 2 years ago, Nintendo decided to cooperate with Dina, a Japanese mobile game company, and also invested in Niantic, one of the software development company. They worked together and launched the game Pokemon Go, which was the big success. For the companies, it's the win-win situation. Just like the book mentioned, in business world. From this example, we can see that games are ever-changing. By overcoming a challenge, one should not make you complacent and immune to change. New players and new actions will always appear, and they can again be utilized. You also must be aware that everyone in the game will also want to change the game in their favors. In reality, the world just one never-stopping game of change, and we were all just players within it. After all, other players will be trying to change the game too. You might need to respond to these changes by changing the game again. There is no end to the game of changing the game. Always being ready for change, and most importantly, making the game you want, not taking the game you find.